Hey everybody, I'm Kevin coming to you from the northern Great Plains Zone 4, and we're in the first part of March here. Snow is starting to melt off and it won't be a matter of just, 4 to 6 weeks. The perennials will start coming out of the ground, trees will be budded out. But for today's video, I wanted to share with you what I think are, 10 of the toughest perennials you can grow in the northern climate. And this idea came to me back in the days when I used to sell perennials in garden centers. I'd start showing people different plants I thought would work for them, and it wasn't long before they'd stop me and say, you know what, I just wanted to live. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to take a look at what I think are 10 of the toughest perennials that you can grow. Let's get started with the Salvia, also called meadow sage or woodland sage. Here I'm highlighting Maynight Salvia, which is a nemorosa species, the hardiest of the many different Salvia species available. It reaches 18 to 24 inches tall and wide with this beautiful bluish violet flower color. It opens up in late spring into early summer. I love this perennial as it's a favorite for drawing in the bumblebees and other pollinators as well. I originally only planted one in this area, and as you can see, it's spread out by self-seeding. I had one seedling come up right next to this amber gold arborvitae, and since I don't want it to get big and shade out the foliage on the arborvitae, I decided to shear it each season after it finishes flowering. And by doing that, it'll keep it smaller and then it reblooms again around September. Like most herbaceous perennials we grow, it's best to remove those dead tops in the late fall or late winter. And you'll definitely notice a strong sage odor when cutting these back. It's not as bad as the Russian sage though, which we're going to take a look at next. Yeah, I have a business that I take care of, and after about half an hour of cutting back these Russian sage stems, I found myself coughing uncontrollably. They're not bad if you're doing just one or two, but for large areas, it's a powerful irritant on the throat. The Russian sage also gets quite a bit larger than the Salvia we just looked at, and it can spread into large patches from its root system. So make sure you're aware of that before planting this perennial. And rather than early flowers like the Salvia, the Russian sage, you're going to enjoy late season lavender blooms with a silvery green foliage. The Russian sage can reach 3 to 4 feet tall, and it's a great choice for hot, dry areas. The next one up on our I Just Wanted to Live list is Stella de Oro Daylily. This is a popular reblooming dwarf daylily with golden yellow flowers blooming from early summer into fall. The Stella is going to stay around 18 inches tall, but can easily get quite a bit wider, even 2 to 3 feet wide if you let it spread over time. I like the Stella because it stays compact, but if you have the room for larger daylilies and want a wide variety of flower colors, there are hundreds of different varieties available with amazing color ranges. Keep in mind with daylilies, it's often recommended to divide the roots every 3 to 5 years to maintain vigorous blooms. But my Stella, it's been left alone now for over 15 years, and while it may not have as many blooms as it did when it was younger, it still puts on a good show every summer with its bright yellow flowers. Okay, let's take a look at a few hostas. Normally the hostas are thought of as a shade-only plant, and they're definitely one of your best choices for shade gardens. But many of the varieties, and there's hundreds of them, they'll do quite well in sunny areas. But it is best if they're shaded or receive filtered sun during the hottest part of the day. In my days selling at garden centers, Patriot was always one of the favorites for the landscapers due to its reliability and excellent variegated leaf color. With a deep green center and white margins, it stays around 2 feet tall and wide, so just a perfect choice for most landscapes. But I'd like to share with you a couple other varieties that have done really well for me. Sum and Substance is probably my favorite, and here it is emerging in the spring as those temperatures begin to warm up with those unfolded leaf spikes advancing quickly. And before you know it, it opens up into these large basketball-shaped golden yellow leaves. This planting location is in east exposure with direct morning sun up until about 1 p.m. and then it's shaded for the rest of the day. And we normally don't hear the word hostas come up when talking about pollinator gardens, but you know what? Hostas are a favorite for the bumblebees with their numerous tubular flowers. You'll need some space for this one as it can easily reach 3 feet tall and as wide as 5 to 6 feet. And real quick, one more variety that's done really well for me is Gold Standard. You'll find with many hostas, the leaf colors and margins, they'll change throughout the growing season. But this has just done excellent for me in a couple different locations. They both receive direct sun for part of the day and then that filtered sun or shade the rest of the day. If you'd like to look at dozens more Hosta varieties, I'll add a link in the description box below where you can take a look at a video where I covered some great varieties. We could get stuck on our next group of plants a long time since there are so many great varieties to pick from in the Sedum group. But I've narrowed it down to Autumn Joy as my top variety for I just want it to live. Autumn Joy is a sturdy perennial and as tough as they come. The sedums in general are all going to thrive in full sun and well-drained soil, and the Autumn Joy has flower clusters that start pink and age to a rosy russet red in the fall. Autumn Joy's mature height's usually around 24 inches tall and wide, but it can reach as high as 3 feet. This is also one of the greatest perennials to draw in honeybees late in the season and fall. I'll quick mention too that even though Autumn Joy is an upright variety, there's dozens of sprawling or carpet sedums available worth growing. Next up is an ornamental grass named Karl Foerster's feather reed grass. In my area, this would fall into the category of, well, overused, but landscapers love to plant it due to, well, you know why, they just live. I have a couple of them and I really like them. They're definitely a tough plant. They don't self-seed, they don't spread, and they consistently have that nice fall seed plume that's so popular. I have to laugh at one of my first videos I did when starting this garden hike channel was on cutting back Karl Foerster grass in the spring. In the video I used a manual shears, which works great if you're only dealing with 1 or 2 plants, but that all changed when I started cleaning up these Karl Foersters at this business. I actually really like this look and I was surprised I didn't have a summer photo, but it's a great way to border this parking lot in this narrow bed. I believe there's over 150 of these here, and yeah, the battery operated head shears is the only way to go when you start getting into this many perennials. So now, depending on the type of perennials I'm cutting back, I still use the old-fashioned manual shears, but I definitely keep the automated shears close by to speed up the process. If you're looking for a little variation on this grass, see if you can find the overdam or avalanche feather reed grass. It's got a variegated leaf with a white center and green margin. Walker's Low Catmint made the list, and it's a popular low-maintenance herbaceous perennial known for its long-lasting lavender blue flowers and a fragrant grayish-green foliage. It usually stays around 2 to 3 feet tall and wide, but I have seen some as wide as 4 feet. This is considered a good deer-resistant, drought-tolerant plant that thrives in full sun to part sun and attracts many pollinators when blooming. I hesitated to put Snow on the Mountain on the list, but since we're talking about plants that we just want to live, this is a great ground cover for challenging locations. It's hardy and fast spreading with white and green variegated foliage and has a tiny white flower in the spring. It thrives in the shade where it'll reach 10 to 12 inches tall, but I have mine growing in a full sun, very dry location where it stays much shorter, around 4 to 6 inches. The next perennial we're going to look at was planted in my landscape before I moved to this current location, so I don't have the tag to confirm it, but I'm pretty sure this is the New England Aster. This one is definitely worth growing, but you're going to need some space as it can reach 5 feet tall and wide as it spreads. But what a great plant for fall flowers all the way into winter, drawing in hundreds of pollinating insects. If you like the idea of a late blooming perennial like this large aster but don't have the space, see if you can find Purple Dome or Woods Pink Aster. They're varieties that'll stay about half the size, in that 2-foot range. Our next perennial is in a class of its own with these large showy flowers that can be found in shades of pinks, reds, and white. The Peony. Peonies are said to thrive on neglect, and they can last more than 100 years. The large flowers on peonies are definitely showstoppers, but keep in mind, to keep them looking their best, you may have to stake them with supports. Due to those large showy flowers, they can often just fold over and drop to the ground, especially if you live in a windy location. Bouquet Perfect is a great variety with shorter and more rigid stems where you might be able to avoid staking though. I'd say Sarah Bernhardt is one of the most common varieties I see in garden centers with these massive, fragrant, double rose pink flowers. But I think my favorite variety is the Kansas variety with these large, double carmine red petals. I'm going to link to one more video in the description if you want to take a closer look at these and some other peony varieties. And I've realized I've gone over 10 varieties now, but before I let you go, I wanted to include the Helopsis or fall sunflower. This is another tough perennial with a long blooming bright yellow flower. Originally here I had planted a variegated leaf variety named Lorraine Sunshine, but since the Helopsis can drop a lot of seeds and spread, the Lorraine variety, well, it just got shaded out, but the seeds I let go are thriving. So there you go, that's my list of some of the toughest perennials that you can grow, and it was hard to narrow it down. So if you've got other perennials that you've grown and you've had really good luck with, share it in the comment section for the other viewers. That's all I've got for now. Thanks for stopping by Garden Hike. We'll see you again next video.